look, if you just look at the eschatology, it is possible this stupid war never ends, okay? So there's a sequence of events that have to happen, okay? And they map this out. And again, what I think what's really important to remember is like, it's not like they are actually manipulating things behind the scenes that's too conspiratorial. It's more like they understand how history works. They understand this is the end of empire. There's a sequence to the end of empire that repeats throughout history. And so what they want to do is anticipate these events and accelerate them to their maximum benefit, okay? But if you look at what they have planned, this is a sequence of events. What may happen very soon is that America sends in ground troops. That would be a disaster for America. They will lose a ground war against the Iranians because Iranians can just hide in the mountains and the Americans don't have the logistic network in order to actually occupy the country, okay? So this ground invasion, whether they send 100,000, whether they send 1 million, doesn't really matter anymore. They're going to lose this war badly. CENTCOM will collapse. America will retreat back into the United States. And then Israel will become the dominant nation in the Middle East. Because even though America doesn't win this ground invasion war, Iran doesn't win either because Iran is destroyed in the process, right? They've lost their capacity to provide basic services to their people, water, electricity, basically. So Iran has to spend time rebuilding. But when it does rebuild, it'll be a much stronger nation, and that's the point, okay? So that's number one, the ground invasion. Another thing that's going to happen according to the script is the destruction of the Al-Aqsa Mosque. So there are rumors that for the past few days, the Israelis have closed down the Al-Aqsa Mosque. And there are rumors that for many years, Israel, under the pretext of an archaeological study, have been digging under the Al-Aqsa Mosque. And the fear is that they will implant explosives so that they can create a false flag incident where an Iranian missile comes into Jerusalem, and then they blow up the Al-Aqsa Mosque and blame it on the Iranians, okay? And there's actually a YouTube video of an Israeli preacher, a rabbi, talking about this, how the plan is to start a war, have the Iranian missile come blow up the Al-Aqsa Mosque, blame it on the Iranians, and start a war between the Arabs and the Persians and let these animals kill each other, okay? That's literally what the plan is. So the great fear, the great question is the Al-Aqsa Mosque. And that's a litmus test of whether this war is eschatological or not, okay? So that's the second thing. The third thing is that this war will expand. Why? Because Israel needs to achieve the Greater Israel Project. And if you look at a map of the Greater Israel Project, it's actually the entire Middle East. So the Greater Israel Project is what the Israelis believed Abraham was promised by Yahweh. Okay, and it's used in the Bible. It says basically from the Nile to Euphrates, which includes Egypt, which includes Saudi Arabia, which includes Turkey, right? And Naftali Bennett, who was a former prime minister of Israel and who is most expected to replace Netanyahu when Netanyahu is removed from public office, he has said that Turkey is the new Iran. Okay? Which means that after we're done with Iran, we're going to go after Turkey. Okay? So this war is going to widen. A lot of the destruction we're seeing in the war among the GCC countries, there's suspicion that a lot of this is actually Israeli false flags. So in the first couple of days of the war, a Saudi Aramco facility was struck. Okay, and so Aramco basically had to close down all its oil production, and then Qatar had to close down its LNG production, which provides 20% of the world's LNG. Okay, and then at first the Iranians were blamed, and then the Iranians responded like, we don't want to do that because we don't want to escalate too much, right? We're not going to attack your oil fields because then you'll come attack our oil fields and now screw us over. So it's not us, guys. And then there's more reporting. It turned out that this drone that struck the Saudi facility came from Lebanon. So it actually came from the west rather from the east. That doesn't make any sense, right? Then there are rumors that this drone that attacked Azerbaijan was actually a Mossad false flag rather than Iranians, okay? Tucker Carlson, a few days ago, said that he has sources in Qatar who told him that Qatar had arrested 2 Mossad agents who were suspected of trying to create sabotage in Qatar, okay? So it is the Israel MO to create as much false flags as possible to engineer an entire regional conflagration that would benefit Israel. Now, we know that the Iranians are striking Israel very hard, but did you know that there are certain Israelis who are actually setting fire to their own homes and blame it on the Iranians? And it's like, well, why would they do that? And the answer is the insurance money, as well as they need to burn down Israel in order to create the Pax Judaica. Okay, right? Because there are investors who want to come in and buy up this real estate. Remember, buy when there's blood on the streets. Okay, so a lot of this is being manufactured for the benefit of transnational capital, right? So this war is going to expand, and then Israel's not going to stop until it's really conquered the entire Middle East, and it creates Pax Judaica. All right, so you have Pax Judaica.